everybody. I'm here with Skinny Vinny, co-host of the WildRide.
Yes.
I knew I was going to mess it up. WildRide podcast with Steve-O.
Yes.
How are
it.
you?
I'm good.
It only took me 2 times.
Only 2 times. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming out here. I know
For
it was
sure.
a far drive. Means a lot.
Dude, for once, there was no traffic.
That's because everyone's still like sheltering in place right now. Just had like a massive hurricane.
Yeah. How did you guys get hit bad down here?
I mean, I live in Huntington Beach, right? So I love storms. I'm from Canada. And like we hardly ever get storms out here.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I didn't realize. Like when I moved down here, I didn't realize how good I had it with the seasons. And you come out here and it's just hot and hotter. Never really rains. So when there's a storm, I'm like, I got to get out in it. So I went down to the pier last night, late night, and it was so cool. There was like 2 surfers out there. It's all black. And there was these pockets that you'd walk through on the pier, and I could lean like all the way back, and it was holding me up.
Yeah. That's sick.
Yeah.
See, I'm familiar with storms too. I'm originally from Connecticut.
Okay.
So the seasons and everything, but
Yeah.
I'm the type of dude that I'm over it. I want this kind of weather all year round.
The sun?
I want it.
That's
like,
it.
Yeah, that's all I want. I was homeless in the snow for a long time. I was homeless in the storms for a long time. So I'm over it. I don't want any more of it. So like good weather all year round.
And you live somewhere that's hot, right? You're in the valley?
Yeah, the valley's tough, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago it was like 120.
Right.
It was
Which
gnarly.
was like not normal for it to be that hot, right?
No, it's not normal. I mean, last year around this time it was like in the 100, like 105.
Yeah.
But 120 is pretty gnarly.
That's pretty gnarly. Yeah. I lived in Vegas for a year a while
was that,
back.
dude?
Oh my God. In my addiction, right? But I was working in LA. And so I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do, our rational thoughts. And I was like, I'm going to move to Vegas. I'm going to buy a house out there. The market's good. And I'm going to drive out to LA for a week out of each month.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fucking epic,
Yeah.
right? And I lasted like just under a year.
It's funny you say that because I have a lot of friends that have thought that same plan. I'm going to buy a house in Vegas and drive to LA when I need to work. I've even thought of that before.
Yeah.
But I just can't do Vegas, man. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was the nightlife, like it never ended.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so even though I was on drugs, like I still like to somewhat feel normal and like go to bed and, wake up, it'd be dark and then you wake up and it's light. And it's just like out there, it's just 24/7.
Yeah, it really is.
You like go to the gas station. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to like go to the gym or something. And there's like an 80-year-old woman smoking a cigarette in the gas station, playing the little slot machine.
The slots in the gas station.
And I'm just
Classic.
like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that didn't last. And then I came back out here. So,
Yeah.
so
Good call.
when did you move out here?
I moved out here, I believe it was October of 2017.
Okay.
And the reason I came out here was, like I said before, I was homeless in Connecticut for a long time.
Yeah.
Like the last 4 years of my addiction.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I was sleeping in a handicap-sized porta potty
No.
for like the last 2 years of it.
Holy
And,
shit. Wait, a porta potty.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so I was comfortable, you know what I mean? And then somehow somebody got my number, and the only thing I had to my name was like an Obama state phone, and somehow somebody got my number and was like, hey, I'll fly you to LA, but you got to get clean, you got to go to rehab out there. And I was like, sure, I'll go to LA. It's way easier to be homeless in LA. Like I had no intentions of getting sober. So I just went to his treatment center for a couple weeks,
Yeah.
left, and was homeless out here for a couple months.
Okay.
So it's like,
Wow.
I started off on Newport Beach, sleeping under like lifeguard benches, whatever those are called, the towers.
The towers.
And slowly made my way north up to Skid Row. Was on Skid Row for a couple months.
Damn.
Just going in and out of treatment centers, like the whole like three hots and a cot
Yeah.
saying, just going in, get some food, sleep on a bed for a little bit.
Yeah.
Let my tolerance go down a little
Right,
bit.
yeah.
And I would just leave. And then somehow the last sober living that I got kicked out of, I had this weird, like what I like to call a spiritual experience, sitting in the front yard waiting for my Uber. I had this like the most vivid whisper of one of my best friends who passed away from an overdose years prior.
Yeah.
The most vivid whisper of his voice in my ear saying, enough is enough. So it like scared me enough to like
That's crazy.
call up the program director and be like, hey, give me one more chance.
Yeah.
But still I had the intentions of getting loaded like a little bit later down the line.
Yeah.
So, and then he put me in a new house, and that's where I met one of my best friends, Zach. People know him as Zach Ass. And I started off as his filmer for a
Okay.
while. And then like I got the little like the little bite of fame a little bit, like being his like his videographer. So I kind of like got addicted to it. So I started making my own content.
Got it.
And then it's like a snowball effect from there.
Yeah. It's so crazy because it's like I look at you now, right? And I didn't know you back then. And it's like that with us addicts, alcoholics. It's like you just can't even imagine the person like that.
For sure.
Like here you are like homeless in a porta potty.
Yeah.
And here you are now.
Yeah, that's why the merch that I have out right now, it's me in front of a porta potty. So I'm just like
Alfred's like,
yeah. I have stickers for you guys.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I kind of wanted to like take that part of my life and not really make fun of it, but like use it to my advantage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do the same thing. You know, it's like,
I have more too for everybody else.
Nice.
Yeah.
you're
Yeah. I'm just like, I guess this is it, you know?
Yeah. But I do the same thing because for a long time, like what I like to call my past life, like what I did before this, you know, working in the adult film industry, like all those things that I did, I like wouldn't really talk about it. And I'm like, oh, like, should I disclose this? Should I not? Like I worked in a clinical setting as a case manager and life coaching and had sober livings. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to talk about this openly.
Yeah.
And, you know, the more confident I got in my recovery and the more work I did, I'm like, you know what? Like I need to use everything in my life to be a positive now, to hopefully help somebody. And so they can see like, hey, she was a real human being. She went through these experiences and look at where she's at now. You know?
I felt the same way. Like the first year, maybe 2 years of my recovery, I was very, I was still a very open person, but I was still a little skeptic of like getting super deep with it and letting like just being so open about it. And it wasn't until it took me a little bit to get through the steps, and then, but it wasn't until like this dude who I really looked up to, he was like, dude, like who gives a fuck what people think?
Yeah.
Use your story as like a way to potentially help somebody that's gone through similar shit.
Yes.
So that kind of opened my eyes.
Yeah.
And then also it's like, it's helped me even in my career as an entertainer. It's like, who gives a fuck what people think?
Exactly.
Just be me.
Yeah.
And if you like me, cool. If not, fuck you. I could swear, right?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. So it's like using that in every aspect of my life has just like, and it just makes life go by easier,
Oh
not
my God.
caring.
It's like a huge weight gets lifted off your shoulder
for sure.
because like what you just said, that's how I live my life now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? It'll weed out who I don't need in my life.
Yeah.
If someone's going to judge me, I don't need them around anyways. And when you become that vulnerable where you're just like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
It attracts the right people into your life.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
I was like, I still have insecurities to this day,
Yeah, me
right?
too.
But back when I first started making content, like I'd be afraid to take my shirt off, you know, and like that's part of our world, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of dudes getting naked doing stupid shit, you know. It's like the you know, that's us. So but I was afraid to take my shirt off because I was afraid of people judging me or whatever.
Yeah.
And then finally when that guy gave me that piece of advice, I slowly started like, oh, I don't care if I'm naked on camera.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like who I am, fuck you.
Yeah.
And if, like my goal, like I love entertaining so much. Like the way that I think about it is if somebody's having a really shitty day and my video pops up, if my 60-second video could like take you away for whatever you're thinking during the day, all the problems just for 60 seconds, then that's
Mission
accomplished.
Yeah.
So that's why I love it so much.
Yeah. And I'm sure there was a lot of people that gravitated to you once you started doing that.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
You know?
Especially when I started getting a lot more open about the porta potty stuff and like really what went down, like all the overdoses and stuff, because people are like, whoa, you were homeless for that long, sleeping in a porta potty. You almost died 15 times and you're working with Steve-O.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that even happen?
Right.
I don't know how it happened. It just literally fell on my lap. And like, I've had posters of Steve on my wall since I was 10 years old, you know? So it's like, it's really weird how everything went down.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit. So you were born in Connecticut,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Family, good, like grew up kind of normal kid? Or?
I mean, I thought it was normal for sure. But after doing a lot of work on myself and doing all that, I grew up, my father passed away when I was 2. He got hit by a drunk driver when he was on his Harley.
Oh, wow.
And my mother was an ex-heroin addict.
Okay.
Family full of alcoholics, don't really get along with most of my family members.
Yeah.
So basically it was just me and my mom. I had an older sister who ran away at an early age, so I didn't really have a relationship with her.
Yeah.
But I thought it was still normal.
It's
you know
all
what
you
I mean?
knew.
It's all I knew.
Yeah.
So it's like my mom gets clean when I'm like 10. But she didn't like stop everything. She's been on the methadone program ever since. But whatever helps. You know what I mean? But I get like my house was the party spot. My mom was more of a best friend than a mother, so it's like my house was the place where everybody would come to smoke weed, drink, my mom would smoke with us.
Right.
So it's like, it was normal at the time, but looking back, obviously it's not normal.
Yeah.
But she tried her best with me, like it's all she knew.
Right.
So,
and I feel like can we turn the air on, by the way? It's a little warm in here.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you.
It's like, I've said this a few times over the last few podcasts, but it's so true. And like you said, she did the best she could. And people get this idea. It's like, oh, our parents are supposed to be this certain way, right?
Yeah.
Like this idea of what they're supposed to be like. And they're just doing the best they can with what they were
totally.
given, you know?
Again, the first year or two in my recovery, I held resentments towards my mom.
I did too. Yeah.
And it was like, how could you kind of thing? Poor me, like just playing the victim.
Yep.
And I really had to do a lot of work to understand and realize, like, look, that was all she knew. Right. She did the best that she could with what she had. We didn't come from money. She still provided the food, a roof over our heads, and like I still played baseball growing up, any toy that I wanted, she would get for me, even though we were struggling, so it's like, it was normal in the fact of like, she worked her ass off to provide, even though we didn't have much, but also the drugs and alcohol played a huge part in growing up.
Yeah. So you were just kind of off and running from a young age.
For sure.
And then you got into hard drugs, right? Like, what was your drug of choice?
Heroin. Yeah. I mean, basically any drug is my drug of choice. But it's mostly heroin, but cocaine, crack, meth,
Yeah. And you've been sober for how long?
Almost 6 years.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank God that the fentanyl, I mean, it's not, I always say I have 7 years, and like if it had been around like it is now, then
it started coming around towards the end of my running.
Yeah.
And I mean, but still, like I have 15 overdoses.
15 overdoses.
Yeah. And a few of those, like I was pronounced dead.
Whoa.
And and I like there have been times where like I should be dead.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I should be dead. Like my friend John, who I was telling you about, who passed away, this was in Burlington, Vermont. And when I found out he passed away, I was in the parking lot of the hospital that he passed in. So I'm like, I go buy a bunch of dope, go back to the parking lot. I overdose in the car.
Whoa.
Some stranger sees me. Some reason my car's unlocked. Some reason he had Narcan on him.
Whoa.
Hits me with Narcan, brings me back to life.
What?
Doesn't say a word to me.
Yeah.
And like he walks away, and I'm just like, yo. And he just looks, smiles, and just keeps walking.
Whoa.
So it's like,
I just got God bumps. I call them God bumps.
I get the chills every time I talk about that.
That's nuts.
It's crazy, dude.
I mean, that's God.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And I just don't know. I like before I got sober, I didn't believe in things happening for a reason. I believed everything's a coincidence, and I didn't believe in love. I didn't believe in all that shit.
Yeah.
You know, and things have happened to me in the last 6 years that I have no explanation for.
Yeah.
It's like from being alive, number one, number two, working with the people who I grew up idolizing just because I got sober. Like it happened quick.
Yeah.
Like the first 3 months of staying sober.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, this is your path.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy because you think about like all these things that happened, all of those had to happen exactly the way they did to bring you to that point, you know? People always talk about their bottoms. I mean, you would think people go, oh, fuck, he has 14 overdoses.
Yeah.
Like, where was the bottom, right? And it's like, I feel like you just keep digging.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
So the way that I consider myself an extremist, even in my sobriety.
Yeah.
And
I can see that about you.
Yeah, totally. And I would take everything to the very extreme. When I get high, I like to touch the line of death. And that's it.
I mean, did you know you were like, okay, this might be...
So when the last like year of my homelessness in the porta potty, I kind of accepted that this was my life. I'm gonna live the rest of my life a heroin addict, and I'm gonna die a lonely heroin addict.
Wow. So
But I was
sad.
cool with it.
Yeah.
I was totally cool. I was like, oh, well, if this is it, then I'm just gonna go out guns blazing. I'm not the type of person to go out and like kill myself.
Right.
But I am the type of person to like get as high as I can, or like, you know, like do whatever I could to get my next fix.
Yeah.
Because that's all I cared about.
Right.
I didn't care about anything else in the
Yeah.
world. That's
So like no goals, no dreams, no like nothing.
Before I got high, I had all these dreams. I wanted to work in the skate industry. I wanted to film skateboarding. I wanted, like when Jackass came out, I pointed at I told my mom, and I pointed at the TV. I was like, Mom, this is what I want to do when I grow up. I want to travel the world and I want to do stupid shit with my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and the crazy
And
part
why
about
wouldn't
it,
you wanna do that?
yeah, you know, and it's like the crazy part about it is when I went home to visit my mom a couple years ago, that memory came up, like popped up in my head. And I was like, Mom, remember that? And she was like, holy shit, you're not just doing it, you're doing it with the people that you pointed at.
That's so crazy.
You know, it's very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you first came out here, so you stayed getting loaded for a little while.
Yeah, for about 5 months, 6 months. Yeah.
And then what actually changed? Like what?
It was just, it was that one part,
That moment.
that like vivid whisper, but it was like I still had it in the back of my head that I was going to get loaded at some point. Cause like I care about getting loaded more than anything.
Yeah.
You know? And
Yeah.
so
And
it's
you've been
like,
doing it for how long?
since I was 17.
Right. So that, I mean, it was second
like
nature.
13 years.
Like having to deprogram your mind from, exactly.
And it's like, and especially like when you're somebody who doesn't believe in love or doesn't believe in things happening for and all that stuff, you know, it's like I was a very negative person. Like, and I also played the victim card, you know? So like, I don't even know what it was. Obviously, like I'm a huge believer in the steps and the program, but me, it's like more finding a purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and at first, like I worked in recovery too the first few years, and I used to tell my guys, I'm like, dude, find a purpose, and it might not be the purpose that you want.
Yeah.
At first, that will come, but like you need to find a purpose, whether it's like walking some old lady's dogs, you know, like
Do something.
Yeah.
I preach that because that was my story when I got sober. I was sitting in treatment. I'd gone through detox. I'm sitting in residential and I'm like, okay, what are we going to do, Jenny?
Yeah.
Like you have to walk away from life as you knew it
Yeah.
because running and gunning up in Hollywood with all those people, like that lifestyle was very normal. And I want to get into that with you too, because like you're surrounded by it. And I'm like, no, I need to completely do something that's meaningful, purposeful, and giving back.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I did. And I preach it all the time. Hey, you guys, you got to find something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
You got to find it.
Yep.
Because if not, you're going to white knuckle it or you're going to be miserable or you're going to relapse because it's great to get sober, but then what?
Yeah.
You know?
I say this all the time that like getting sober, like just quitting the drugs and alcohol was the easiest part about the whole thing.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
It's like, okay, now I don't have the drugs and alcohol to numb my feelings
Now
and
you have
everything.
you.
Now I have me that I'm just sitting with.
Yeah.
And I still don't believe in love and all that shit. So it's like, oh my God, now I'm sober living in the most fucked up world.
Yeah.
And I have nothing. I'm in a
Right.
sober living with not a penny to my name, a backpack with like 3 white t-shirts and a couple pairs of underwear.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
you're finally feeling for the first time. And that's
Finally
weird.
feeling.
Super uncomfortable.
So the most uncomfortable thing in the world.
Yeah.
You know, but once I found that, like, I picked up that video camera again because like that was my thing back when I was an early teenager was the video
Yeah.
camera. I loved the video camera. And when I picked it up again, helping Zach film, it gave me that like, oh, I remember this. This feels good.
Yeah.
You know, and then, but still had the intent of getting loaded a little bit down the line. But then like the way that things happened, it was like the quickest snowball effect of like, whoa, our videos just went viral. Whoa, filming for an MTV show. Whoa, I'm at Bam Margera's house. Whoa, I'm doing all this shit that I'm like,
So rad.
my 13-year-old self is crying and I'm 6 months sober at Bam's house filming a video. So it's like,
And as great as that all was, obviously, how were you dealing with that? Because that's a lot to deal with that fast at like 6 months sober.
Really
And
fast.
obviously you weren't around everyone that was sober. So
No.
what was that like for you?
it was I eventually got to a point where I was like, holy shit, this is so cool. I'm having so much fun. This is what I've dreamt of doing. I'm not fucking it up.
Yeah.
Or else I'm not going to have this. So that's when I finally started working the steps, because when I got to like 8 or 9 months, I still hadn't worked the steps. I was lying to my house manager saying that I was working the steps just so like, he knows all this. Just so I was just lying just so he would allow me to go travel the country and film.
Yeah.
And, but it wasn't until a little later on, like a little bit before a year, where I started doing the steps, because I was like, okay, it's not going to hurt. It's not going to hurt. Let me just do it, because like, I have the same tattoos as Bam. You know what I mean? Like I've been idolizing this dude since I was 10 years old. Like he was a god to me growing up. So I'm like, if I get loaded, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And like
you had something to lose.
I had
Everything
something huge to lose, everything to lose. And I'm still in a sober living. So I don't know like what direction my life is going to go. So I'm just really holding on and just like, I hope this works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I remember calling my mom and being like, Mom, I know I've asked you this probably 30 times before, but can you buy me a camera? And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm not doing that. And I'm like, Mom, you have no idea. I'm in this situation. I need this. Like all the shit that I'm doing. She's like, yeah, you've said that before so many times. And I'm like, it's different this time.
Yeah,
She's
truly.
Like, yeah. You know, and still like my mom has gone above and beyond like all the fucked up shit that I've done to her, you know, like she still has supported me since day one, which is
Bless
crazy.
your heart, Mom.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, it's been a very wild ride for sure. No pun intended.
Yeah. How did you get out of the victim state of mind?
Good question. It was, I mean, the steps played a huge part of that. Probably the biggest part, actually. Like obviously, you're familiar with the steps?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. You know, step 4, all the resentments that I had to get through. And I'm the kind of guy that like, I don't let shit bother me, but like my sponsor made me work so deep with it. Like I'd come back with like a list of like 10 things and he'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? You better do some more digging and like come back with a bigger list. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I come back with a list of 30 things. 30? Who the fuck are you, Mr. Smooth Guy? You know, like, and just he'd make me go back and back and back and like all the way to like 3rd grade of like little Timmy making fun of me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like the steps and the amends, you know, it's like, I think those 2 steps really played the biggest part of me just being like, I played a huge part in a lot of things. Exactly.
Like that was so huge for me too, because for so long that was part of my story, as I was such a victim. And I had every right to feel that way for a long time, you know, childhood abuse and all this stuff. But going from that victim state of mind and through the steps in therapy and becoming, you know, a survivor, it was like a game changer for me. Yeah. You know, and looking at my part and stuff, because I always had this mentality like, fuck, it's crazy. Like I just keep like picking the wrong people and just really bad luck. Like I keep like getting into these situations. Like, what the fuck, God? Like, come on,
why
throw
me?
me a bone. Why me? And like when I was able to look at, you know, that stuff and go, wow, like have accountability and look at my part in it. There was always a part in it, you know?
I mean, I always played the biggest part in everything. And it was just, but he did this or she did that. Like, no, it was me every single time. Yeah. You know, and then, but like my lying and manipulating was just nonstop all day, every day to get what I wanted.
Yeah. And lying to ourselves.
For sure.
You know, first and foremost, I mean, like not being able to look at yourself, you know, it's like, that's the worst.
The worst. I remember so vividly the day in the sober living where I was able to look in the mirror and be okay with the person I was. It was the most magical, fucking unbelievable feeling I've ever had. Yeah. You know, like
such a good feeling. Yeah. Man, it took me like the first 5 years of like hard work to really get to that point. Last 2 years have been great for me. Yeah. But I would always do those affirmations and I learned them in treatment. I'm like, this is so stupid. I'm like, look in the mirror, you're brave or you're whatever. But I started taking it serious and someone told me, they're like, okay, do one affirmation and keep doing that affirmation over and over and over again until you actually like wholeheartedly believe it.
For sure.
And
I'm a huge believer in manifestation.
I was just talking about this in the last podcast.
The biggest. Oh man, I have some stories to tell you about manifestation.
Yeah, please do, because obviously your whole life you manifested where you're at now.
Yeah. And before I get into that, like how you were talking about the affirmations. Mm-hmm. I was on the bottom bunk in Sober Living, and I would have all these positive affirmations like taped above me, and then I would also I would have a picture of a porta potty taped on the bottom bunk or like above the top bunk, and all the positive affirmations around the porta potty.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you take a picture of that ever?
No.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so manifestation plays the biggest part in my life.
Yeah.
Maybe I think this was this past April. Mm-hmm. I'm at the gym. I leave the gym. I go, I had like 3 podcasts we had to film that day. So I was like, all right, let me grab some food before I go. In the same parking lot, there's a seafood spot. So I was like, all right, let me go grab some stuff. Go inside, get the food, come back, get in my car. Before I get a chance to shut my door, this Indian dude walks by the front of my car, and he turns, makes eye contact with me, and just stops dead in his tracks and just stares at me. Mm-hmm. And he walks up to me. He's like, you have very kind and lucky eyes. And I was like, oh, okay, this dude's a kook, like, thanks, dude.
Yeah,
you know
cool.
what I mean? Yeah. And then like he grabs my arm.
Oh, wow.
When he grabbed my arm, I had the most insane goosebumps go from the bottom of my feet, go up to the top of my head.
Wow.
Almost to the point where I was crying. He starts saying this shit. He's like, you think too much, right? And I'm like, yeah. You like to plan a lot, right? And I'm like, yeah. Half of me, I'm still thinking this guy's a kook, because anybody could think a lot, anybody could plan a lot, Then he's like, I was put here we were meant to meet at this exact location. Now I'm like, okay, this dude's a fucking kook. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
He wouldn't let go of my arm. And he starts saying some shit. He's like, you come from very humble beginnings. The last few years for you have been the biggest in your lives. And then he's like, he takes this piece of paper out of his pocket. He's like, he gives it to me. He's like, crumble it up, hold it, don't look at it, and hold it in your hand really tight. He starts saying these things. He's like, name a female relationship in your life that's not going the way you want. So I was like, my mom. And he's like, what's her name? I said, Susan. He's like, what year were you born? I was like, 1987. He's like, name a flower off the top of your head, the quickest flower you could think of. So I say lilies. He's like, what's your dream and passion? Entertainment, movies, and TV. He goes, touch the piece of paper to your forehead, open it up. I open up this fucking piece of paper. It has my mom's name, 1987, TV and movies, and lilies.
What?
I start uncontrollably crying. I can't stop crying. He goes, the months of June and May and July are going to be the biggest months of your life. I went to Australia after trying to get in Australia for so long.
Yeah.
In June, got to tour the world. July, went to the UK, Paris, did that whole thing with my girlfriend in July.
Whoa.
Now we're back on July has probably been the biggest month of my life.
Yeah.
And not even just that. Like there's been so many things where like
crazy.
I've had dreams of some of the shit, like literal dreams, like me sleeping, I'm having these dreams of things happening. And years later, I'm in that same place.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I have the same experiences in the sense of like manifesting. I literally was just talking to the last person. He was here this morning talking to him about this. And it's gnarly. Like a lot of people don't understand it if they haven't experienced it. Yeah. But I live my life by it. It's like a code. It really is. Yeah. And it all comes down to like that energy we put out and what we're thinking, you know, and it comes back.
It really is. It 100% is what you put out. And I used to tell my guys this all the time, and I'm like, because they'd always ask me, how did you do this? How did you do that? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I just continued to do the next right thing. I continued to be honest with myself and everybody around me. I was in service a little bit, and that was it.
Yep.
and shit just happened.
It just happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the promises really do come true.
Yeah.
Like I used to be that person when I first got sober and I'd go to a meeting or something and I'm looking around everyone. I'm like, yeah, maybe for you.
Yeah.
Not for me.
For sure. I used to hate the cliche sayings of AA.
Oh yeah.
I hated them because of how true they were.
Yeah.
And it's just like, when they say it, they mean it, you know?
And when you truly believe it for yourself, it's like your life becomes more beautiful than you could have ever imagined in every way.
Yeah. Another manifestation story is when Steve-O first hired me to, I was producing WildRide at first.
Yeah.
Just setting up the van, you know, maybe some editing here and there.
Yeah.
And I took a picture of myself inside the van.
Yeah.
And my caption was, "One day I'll be in this seat, not just setting up." And he put me on as a guest when we were on tour, I don't know, 9 months ago or something. I completely forgot about that post.
Wow.
And the other co-host, Scott, he was like, "Hey, dude, remember your post about a year ago?" I was like, "Holy shit."
Yeah.
And now I'm the co-host. Like, I had no interest of being the co-host. That was not even a thought ever. I just wanted to be a guest on one episode.
Yeah.
I was the guest, and then like 3 weeks later, I'm the co-host.
Wow.
Strange.
And so what is it right now that you're manifesting for the future?
I have a project that I'm working on. I haven't said the name publicly yet.
Yeah.
Because I'm like 80.
But it's in the works.
It's in the works. I'm like 90% done with it.
Nice.
I've been working on it for the last 8 months, and the plan is to pitch it to these networks.
Cool.
And hopefully have a TV show.
Right on.
Of my own. I've had a couple other TV shows, but it wasn't mine. Like I didn't create it. I didn't, you know.
Yes.
But this is my baby, and very soon. I've been making hints about the name and everything, what it's about, for the last couple of months on social media.
Okay.
But
I'll have to start watching for that.
Yeah.
So when you said that you found what love was in recovery, what was that process like?
It honestly, it wasn't even a process. It was just like
just came.
It just came. It was just like, holy shit, good people do exist. Holy shit, like, because I always thought that people were always out for themselves. I didn't think that there could be any good people, and a lot of that came from like my mom, and like because she had that mentality of like, don't trust anybody. Everybody's out for themselves. Yeah, and so for the longest time, that's how I lived. But yeah, it was really weird. It was just like a one day, I'm just like, oh wow, this world is kind of cool, and people, like, good people do exist, and you know, and it wasn't really like a working thing. It just happened. Yeah, another strange thing.
Right. I was like that for a long time when I first came out here. It was a huge culture shock for me. For starters, coming from Canada, I had no idea. And people, they're nice out there. Like everyone says, like hello.
Yeah. That's what my girlfriend said.
Yeah. And I came out here and I was like, what? Especially being in like a competitive industry where like girls are all competitive, and I'm like, hi, how are you? And they're like, what the fuck's wrong with that chick? Yeah. So I was always like, people had, you know, their motives and their reasons, but in recovery and doing the work, it's like, oh wow. Like there is people, and opening myself up to that, you know, because I was always like so guarded and not allowing people in, you know, and then I surround myself with the wrong people, but allowing these people to come in.
Do you find yourself now, with having some time under your belt, still having a little difficulty letting people in?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It takes me a while, and I keep my circles small.
Same.
I do. And I don't have any expectations from anybody ever.
Expectations are the worst.
Bruise resentment so fast. Yeah. And life is just so much more peaceful and easier to just not have expectations. Yeah. And then it truly allows me to live like one day at a time, in the sense of like, I'm not going to expect anything. And then whatever wonderful things happen in my life, it's this amazing blessing.
Yeah. Do you still slip up sometimes and let the expectations fuck you up?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
I'm human.
Yeah.
But I'm very like tenacious and passionate about what I do, career wise, and like where I want to go in life. But I'm very like laid back and chill most of the time when it comes to like other people, and not putting too much stock in that, you know? So, but just like doing the work, doing the steps. Like I think everyone should do the steps. Whether
I say the same thing.
I say it like every day. I'm like, you should just do the steps.
I say the same thing. Like somebody who has no alcohol or drug problem, like, could benefit from the steps.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I had a lady come on last week, and I thought it was so cool because we were talking about her kids. She has 4 kids. I have a teenager. I have a 15-year-old. And she was saying that one of her daughters was struggling, not with like drugs or alcohol, but just in life. And she's like, you know what? We're going to do the steps.
Yeah.
Like she'd done other things with her. It wasn't working.
Yeah.
And they just changed around the wording. And she's like, I swear to God, we did the steps and she's been working them. And like her life has like drastically improved.
Yeah.
Just like having that self-awareness. Like I feel like people just don't, not everybody, okay, but a lot of people just don't have that like self-awareness.
Totally.
You know, and accountability. Accountability is huge. And then getting out of ego and pride. Like how is ego and pride for you?
Ego and pride. Ego, not so much as pride. Pride is a big thing for me. Like I mean, ego too. Like, cause let me be honest here. Okay. It's like, it's hard. I mean, for my ego to get pretty big is kind of easy because I'm like, my life is really cool and I'm doing all this rad shit and I'm traveling the world and I have a gorgeous fiance, you know, and like I'm living my wildest dreams. So of course part of me is going to be like, dude, you're fucking awesome. Bro. Yeah. you're like the sickest dude out here, you know, like you're killing it.
Yeah.
But that thought goes away really quick. That's the thing. That's like the difference for me back then is like, same with like wanting to get high, right? Like the feeling of wanting to get loaded, like that thought would stick with me for so long. And then as I got more time, the thought of getting loaded, I'd have those thoughts, but they would just disappear really quick. You know? But so the ego thing, it's like, but that's also like a confidence thing too. You know, it's like I have to believe like that I'm killing it. I have to be able to look in the mirror and be like, bro, you're killing it. Like keep going. Like because it's a huge confidence booster.
It is. Like I've trained my mind to think that way. Like I have to truly believe in what I'm doing because if I don't truly believe in it, how am I going to have anyone else believe in it? And I have to believe that no matter what, no matter how many times I fail, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to win. Yeah. You know, and like you've overdosed 14 times. I've overdosed twice. Like we're here for a reason. Totally. And this path wasn't just put in our way as like, oh, it's just luck. Like this is what we're meant to be doing. Yeah. You know? I
truly believe that.
And save lives and be impactful and be fun. When did you discover you're so funny? Like you're really funny.
I don't know. See, part of me doesn't even think I'm funny.
You're really funny.
Thank you. Yeah. Part of me like I
think it's just you though. It's like your personality.
Yeah. I mean, this goes back to me just like wanting to make people smile with whether it's I mean, basically it comes down to me being an attention whore. That's really what it is. Like that's the true
but you're channeling it in the right way.
For sure. I mean, like that's the real root of all this. It's like, and it's like most of us in our world, it's like we're attention whores. We fight for camera time. We do whatever we can to get people's attention. Yeah. And it's true. But it's also like I was saying before, I love entertaining. I like making people smile. I like making people laugh. I enjoy making people gasp, like what the fuck? How did he just do
crazy stuff?
Yeah, and that goes back to me like being an extremist. You know, it's like I'll go to the fucking extreme to get the reactions. Yeah, whether it's lighting myself on fire or putting darts in my stomach or whatever. You know, it's like I go to the extreme because I'm an attention whore.
And you get that natural high from it. You must, right?
For sure.
That adrenaline.
For sure, it's the best high I've ever had. Yeah. You know, it's like. From the stunts all the way down to people yelling my name like on tour. You know, it's like that was probably this is gonna sound really bad, but the fame part, it's like we were in the UK and I help Steve with the merchandise sometimes, like a lot of the times, right? And I'm packing the tour bus with merch, and all of a sudden I hear people screaming "Skinny Vinny," and Steve was like, "Get your ass on up here." So I'm up with Steve-O and people are chanting Skinny Vinny. I'm talking like 1,000 people. Yeah. And I'm just like,
how does that feel?
It was the biggest high, the biggest and best high I've ever felt in my life. Yeah. And I will never forget that day ever. Yeah. You know, like that, it's the stunts, you know, it's like the adrenaline from doing the stunts. It's a very, very high adrenaline thing.
Yeah, and to feel all of that sober to that degree.
Yeah.
You know?
At first, people didn't believe that I was sober because I'm lighting myself on fire or like whatever. How could you not?
How would a sane person do that?
How could you not get loaded and do that? You know, like any kind of like even pain relievers afterwards. You know, I haven't done any of that. You know, and and because a lot of people in the program, some people do judge whether, you know, like you do take pain medicine afterwards, you know, and soon I'm getting my teeth done. I'm getting all replacements.
Veneers?
Yeah. Not veneers, but caps.
Okay. Yeah.
And like, I'm worried and I'm nervous, but like, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try to do it, but because Steve has done it. So I'm like, if Steve can do it, I can do it.
I had surgery, elective plastic surgery 10 days ago.
Yeah.
And I've had surgeries and stuff done over the last 7 years that I've been sober. And I've taken, you know, prescribed pain medicine that was given to me by someone, you know, being accountable and all that.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? This time I'm going to do it. I opted out of the pain med.
Yeah.
And it was so hard. I had like the biggest anxiety attack. I'm like, fuck, I opted out, sign this paper. Don't let me have it. And I was terrified. And I got home and I just had myself like set up properly. I had like the real peaceful environment. I had the snacks, like all the snacks, the movies all lined up, the music, the right people around me. And I got through it. And like after 48 hours passed, I felt so much better. And and it was just like, I got high off that feeling of not using them for the first time, where I was like, holy shit. Yeah. Like I can sit in this and breathe through it, which I never thought I was going to be able to do.
Yeah. When it comes to mouth stuff, it's like, I'm not like, there are very few things on this planet that I'm afraid of.
I hate
and mouth and dentist, that's probably number one on my list.
I need to go really bad.
Yeah. It's like my teeth are fucked. They're jacked. And Steve offered to pay for all new teeth.
Rad.
And which is like, when he offered it, I started crying. Aww. Like it was crazy. But, so, and the dentist is up in Portland. Shout out Dr. Brady.
All right,
like,
Dr.
Brady, dude, you are the shit. And so after this next tour, I'm going to be going up there to start the process.
Yeah.
And I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I'm unbelievably terrified. And so I'm not the kind of person to judge anybody. Like, I'm not going to like suffer.
Of course not.
You know, and I feel the same way about anybody else. Yep. Like, as long as you're taking them as prescribed or even having somebody holding you accountable to take them,
that's
you know,
what
like,
I would have to do.
Like I'll go for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like, I'm going to try not to, but like, I just don't want to suffer, dude.
No, don't.
Yeah.
There is some like real old school AA people that are like, nope.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
That's a relapse. And I'm like, no, okay.
Yeah. There are people online commenting on our pages that are like calling Steve out because he takes Zoloft.
What?
Like, yeah, dude. And these people claim to be in the program and all this stuff.
That's
and like,
crazy.
I'm like, dude,
you're not a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
Mind your business.
Exactly. Our comment section is wild.
Yeah, I'm going to actually check that out.
Yeah.
I even get like some crazy messages. I'm like, what the hell, you guys? I'm just out here trying to like be a good person.
Yeah.
There's like so many trolls.
So many trolls.
What do you think that's all about?
I don't know. I mean, I basically think it's just people that hate themselves and have no other life than to just troll online.
Because I always think like, why would you take the time to even like I was getting tattooed, for example, just random on Saturday, and it was I deleted them all, right? Because I won't engage in them. But just person after person after person just talking shit about me finishing this sleeve.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why even go on here?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't even a hot topic or something political. It's just like me getting tattooed.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I like when they comment and troll because it just helps the algorithm.
For sure, right?
You know what I mean?
You're
so
like,
it's just like, all right, you're still watching me, so it's like whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times I just reply with like the most loving comment ever, and like a lot of the times they'll reply back and be like, holy shit, I didn't think you'd actually reply. I'm such a big fan, dude. I'm just like, dude, you could have just told me that. You know, like you didn't have to be an asshole.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So what's up next for you?
I mean,
you have your big project.
I have this big project. Yeah. I mean, we leave for tour in a couple days. We're doing, we're starting in Connecticut, which I'm super stoked about.
Very cool.
A lot of my family members are coming to the show. And we're going to be on the road from Connecticut to Florida for like 3 weeks.
So how does that go with your sobriety? I mean, do you have a routine that you do on the road?
I mean, I guess there's a little routine, but not really. Like my crew, most of them are sober guys.
Nice.
So like Steve's 15 years,
Yeah, that's
Scott's
amazing.
10 years. I'm coming up on 6.
Yeah.
Our buddy Isaac, he's not an alcoholic or drug. He's just a normie.
Nice.
Like Isaac is the shit. Shout out Isaac. I told him I'd shout him out today. I love him. So it's like my crew is like super solid.
That's amazing.
And we have Steve has this like a home meeting that when we're on the road, we just hit Zoom.
Okay.
You know, and they let us come in.
Yeah.
And like even sometimes when we're on the road, we'll find a meeting in a different city, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Like when we have time to just not do anything except for hit a meeting, it's the sickest. Like being able to hit meetings across the country. We went to some in Australia.
So
we
cool.
went to some in the UK.
Are they different? They don't clap, huh?
No, everybody claps.
Oh, really?
Everybody claps. Dude, it's like the same shit everywhere.
I thought we were the only ones that clapped. What is it that we do that no one else does? There's something.
I don't know.
I thought it was the clapping.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's like that. I say at every different meeting, whether it's East Coast, I think we went to one in Alaska too. Maybe not. But no matter where we've gone in the world, it's the same feeling. And it's the sickest. It's awesome, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
I'm a very grateful person that I get to travel the world and like
those experiences.
Yeah.
Having that freedom from the drugs. Like for me, I could never travel because I'm like, well, fuck, I can't bring my stuff. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know, even like being a mom, like preparing for the holidays, he's like, okay, I got to make sure I have extra stuff because I can't go in with like, oh my God.
Yeah.
We were a prisoner
I mean,
to that.
I got my first passport last when was it? Like last November? It was like my first passport, and like I almost cried when it came in the mail. I was like, "Holy shit! Like this is real."
So
like,
cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And like I just went to Romania. Like
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you speak any other languages?
No. Maybe a little Spanish. I think I learned more Spanish in jail than I did in school. But yeah, we went to Romania. Because we did America's Got Talent last year.
Okay.
And like me and my stunt crew from the UK, they came over here. We did America's Got Talent, did stupid shit on stage.
Yeah.
And we did it as a joke and like kind of making fun of the whole thing, but they loved us and they kept pushing us through all the way to the finals.
Oh, that's so funny.
So, yeah. And
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. It's America's Got Talent, Lazy Generation.
Okay.
And since then, all these different countries are reaching out, wanting
Really?
us to do their version of America's Got Talent.
You got to do it.
Yeah, so we did Romania's,
hilarious. Oh,
and
cool.
like we'll find out soon whether or not we have to go back.
Yeah.
And like I my buddies told me that Spain reached out and Britain reached out, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if I will keep doing it just because I don't want to be pigeonholed. You know,
Yeah,
I don't want to be put in that box of like just doing those kind of shows.
Yeah,
you know, it's
yeah.
like cool to do it once or twice, and no hate or bashing
right. I
anybody
hear
that
what you're
does
saying,
that.
though.
You know, it's just
Yeah.
not for me.
Your story's so inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
From where you were and who you've become. What would you say to somebody out there that's just feeling pretty hopeless and, well, I'm never going to be able to amount to what he has?
I mean, kind of like basically the same shit that I tell everybody. It's just like continue doing the next right thing and just be honest and like help people every once in a while. You know, like
It sounds so simple, but it's like a game changer.
For sure. And it's really hard to change at first because like, you know, the lifestyle that we had, it was the most selfish lifestyle ever. Like we didn't give a fuck about anybody but ourselves. And we thought we knew what's best.
Yeah.
But in reality, we didn't know shit.
No, we didn't know shit.
You know,
I still don't know
I still don't know shit.
I still don't know
yeah,
shit.
exactly. Like,
but it's okay.
Yeah, like
it's okay now.
I still like, and I will probably forever do this. Before any like major life decision, I'll call like 10 different people and get their opinions.
Yeah.
Even though I kind of know what way I'm gonna go, I still do it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's basically just like, just do the right thing, you know, and like, and you have to like, you have to like learn that good people do exist, I guess.
Yeah, they do.
You know, it's
They're
like,
out there.
Yeah.
How do you stay humble? Because you seem very, very humble. You seem like a genuinely nice, humble person.
Thank you. I don't know how it like, it's just like it just comes natural to me, I guess. Like, cause I've lived in both sides of the spectrum quite few different times. Like when I turned 18, from my father passing, I got a shit ton of money.
Okay.
Like, so I know what it was like to have a lot of money.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to live in a porta potty. I know what it's like to be in sober living. I know what it's like to have a house. Like, it's like, I've lived on both spectrums quite a few times. I know what it's like. And I just like, I don't know, man. I always constantly have to remind myself that my story has the potential to reach a lot of people now, especially in the position that I'm in now.
Yeah.
A lot of people look up to us. So it's like, I just have to remind myself, hey, don't be a cocky piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thanks
for
you.
being here.
Yeah, for sure.
I just love this. This was great.
This was fun. Yeah.
This is like one of my, if not my favorite one.
Aw.
You're rad.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
Hell yeah.
All right,
Sweet.
you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
You.